In today's video, we are going to be talking about a Magic card that has spiked over 1,300%, and it's all because of Tarkir Dragonstorm. It seems that whenever a new set comes out, we have multiple cards spiking. And in this video, wait, we've already said this kind of stuff. We already know what we're here to talk about. This is a card spike video. Moxman, stop wasting time. Guys, let's get to this. All right, we are jumping over from a Universes Beyond, and it is going to be from Fallout. It's McCready, the Lamplight Mare. Now you can see only a little tiny spike here. This is nothing huge, right? Why did I say it's 1,300%? Well, just stay with me here. This goes on for a little bit. Now, I'm showing you this little bit of an increase because we're going to jump to the next one, which shows a massive increase, the extended art. But the point is, all of these cards are selling hundreds. And by the time I started finishing counting, I was already over like 1,800. So I started out yesterday. I got to where I am by the time we're seeing this recorded video. And I know this card's over 2,000 sales, and I can see why it's been spiking up. Now, I took a look at the card myself and I said, well, what's so exciting about McCready, the Lamplight Mare? We take a closer look at the card. One black, one other. It's a 1/3 legendary creature, human advisor, okay? It comes in one of the commander decks, by the way. It says whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less attacks, it gains Skulk. And that's an old power from the old days. It says it can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. So, as long as they're bigger than you, they can't block, which is kind of awesome. But get this secondary ability. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater attacks you, its controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Well, overall, this doesn't seem like some disgustingly sick card, does it? It seems okay. It's got some uses. It probably has a few ways of getting all kinds of token creatures and things created to go beat down somebody because they can't be blocked, right? Because it's got Skulk. I like that, okay? It can't be blocked. That's a good thing. But then you start looking at cards from Tarkir Dragonstorm, and you start to understand just how powerful this card can go. Here is Felothar, Dawn of Azban. 1 green, 1 black, 1 white. Legendary creature, human warrior with trample. Whenever Felothar attacks or enters, so it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may sacrifice a non-land permanent. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Well, let's go back to McCready there where it says whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less attacks, it gains Skulk until end of turn. It can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Okay, so you can do all kinds of crazy stuff after it gets through, but before damage is dealt, we're going to have a lot of opportunity here to use Felothar. We're going to be able to mess people up, and of course it fits right into Felothar's color wheel. Okay. I hope you're all following the bouncing ball in this one. So let's go over and take a look at the next card. Look at something like the Tree of Redemption. 1 green, so it fits with Felothar. Actually, it comes from a Dragonstorm commander deck, as well as the original reprints we've seen of this card. And it's a 0/13 with Defender. But it says, exchange your life total with this creature's toughness. Well, that doesn't seem very important, does it? It doesn't seem to be doing anything. Exchange your life total with this creature's toughness. Okay, I follow that. So there's got to be some kind of end result with this, right? Then you jump over and you take a look at cards like Beltor, Ancestor's Voice. Look, the same color wheel, okay? It's a 3/5 flying lifelink, but it says at the beginning of your end step, put a number of +1/+1 counters on up to 1 other target creature you control equal to the amount of life you gained this turn. Ooh, exchanging life totals, that's gaining life, isn't it? Doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Oh, okay. We can see all kinds of shenanigans now starting to appear. Now, it also says that return up to 1 target creature card with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you lost this turn. So, if you go back to that Tree of Redemption, switching life totals could be gaining life or losing life, which means this card gives you a lot of options to make sure all of your cards keep coming back. I mean, you can see where this is all going, and this is why this card is spiking up huge. A lot of players are now building with it, a lot of people speculating on it, and now we have this card just fading into the backdrop with tons of sales. Now, what does this all mean, though? How does it affect you as a player, and is this a card you should be thinking about buying right now? Now, whenever we see amazing combinations of cards, the synergy, that makes the FOMO go off in your brain saying, I need to get that card. I am building that type of deck right now. This is going to fit perfectly with what I want to do. Understand there's something we've all learned in Magic, and I hope you're about to learn it as well if you haven't already. Patience. Do you remember that Doctor Who card? The Master Manipulator? What happened to him? He's already fallen. He's already lost massive amounts of volume and sales and price tag. He's losing everywhere. He can't be held aloft. We've seen this time and time again, and the longer you wait, the more you are going to save money. The question is, not can you afford the card? Of course you'll be able to afford the card. The real question is, how long are you willing to wait to get this card if you really do want it? Are you going to wait a month, 2 months, 3 months, a day, 5 days, a week, a year? The longer you wait, the more you're going to save on this card, because we've learned nothing can keep these cards buoyant. The speculation dies down. People start dumping them onto the market, taking what they can get, and you're hitting this as a falling knife goes down. Just where do you want to hit it? Where do you find the price to be acceptable for your enjoyment of the game? And that possible combination of cards is what you need to consider as a player with your wallet. You decide. Nobody else can tell you that. I'm just facilitating information in a really crazy market that is always affected by new sets coming out. It's amazing. I love following this stuff. Now, we have one other card to talk about. Tarkir Dragonstorm has given us a lot to think about, and there's a lot of deck builds going on right now, and I think this card is worth mentioning as well, so take a look at this. Here we have Ugin, Eye of Storms, Tarkir Dragonstorm. This card has an average price right now of $58.98 and a market value of $47.47. There's a little bit of disparity here, but you can see it's still selling copies, which is stopping it from collapsing, but it's not selling enough with demand being high to keep the price high. And that's because there's a lot of supply out there of people hoping to cash in. Don't forget, here in Canada, this card's still going for like $110, when really it should be going for about 70 Canadian. So what's going on? Well, when we look at the sales of this card, when you look to see how it's selling, you can see it's still selling really well. We've got multiple copies selling every single day, and there's somewhere around 30 to 40 copies a day moving in the open market from TCG Player, eBay, and local game shops. We can maybe push that as high as 100 to 150 copies that I personally can track, which means over a given week this week, we're going to see 1,400 copies of sales of this particular card. Now, the reason this is actually significant and something players need to keep an eye out for is if you're a player who wants Ugin, you've been looking, you want it, well, that card is going to continue to fall. It's not going to drop down to nothing, but it could easily settle into the 35 US range. And that's because as more players see the value of the card, they're selling it, hoping to get a higher cash dollar, knowing that they think they can buy it back when it's cheaper. I already know there's not a mass amount in the market. We know because we've seen tons of box opening videos with people getting nothing. I did that here on my live stream. We didn't get one. Now, the card I'm not going to share with you is going to be Elspeth. I didn't do any real cover-up, follow-up on this one to say, hey, this is what we've got, this is what's happening, this is where I think it's going to go. This is seeing tremendous gameplay. It has value, and people are going to continue to buy the card, but it looks like it's just leveling off at its price point. Will it go higher? That is possible, but it's one of those cards I'm not following as tightly right now, just because the market hasn't really decided, where Ugin seems to be solidifying because of its 7 casting cost and what it does in the game. You can't do direct damage, you can just blow up non-land permanents. It has a little bit of a mixture of stuff, and when we see sets that are going to leave, like the Brothers War, it's going to take away a lot of artifacts that you might be trying to fit into a deck. I've done it myself. It can be very successful and fun, but at the same time, we're still missing a lot of stuff, so we're not sure how that's going to pan out. And for players out there, they're hoping there's more synergy later, and there may very well be, but we don't know that yet. Whereas Elspeth, we know what we're working with. We know what Bloomborough with all the tokens has provided for us. We've seen stuff in Aether Drift. We know Duskmourn. We know where that set's going to fall, and it's already well established. So when we get a card like Elspeth that creates double the amount of tokens, that's just a machine. Adding in Doubling Season and other set kind of reminders that say, build with this, you know you've got insane combos that are possible, that could happen. And the last card I'm going to mention just off the edge here is going to be that Stormscale Scion. It's down around $7-8, and I have seen this thing go off on Arena, where the guy ended up getting like 20 dragons because he had Dracogenesis and he managed to draw a lot of cards and he just nuked the board with all kinds of craziness, and it was cool to see, but it was a late game finisher. The question will be, can you make that happen in Commander quickly? Can you make things go off to make it very effective? That's going to be the end question for a card like that, not just what we're going to see in Standard, maybe Modern, and of course Commander. You guys will decide that later. The population of Magic will decide on cards like this. But when it's less than $8, it's a card to consider. It's not a high-risk target like Ugin or Elspeth. It is going to be a low-level target right now of less than $10 that could spike to something else, which allows you to buy into something bigger. And that's what I like to do with cards like this. Guys, thanks again. Thank you for hanging out with me on the channel today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. It's an amazing thing to see McCready go this high. Out of nowhere, I love seeing these cards just jump up because some player finds some amazing combinations that work together to make it a deadly combo. Guys, thanks again for being here. I already repeated myself, but don't worry. I'm okay with it. I hope you guys are too. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow with another video. Have an awesome day today. Great cards, man. Awesome stuff. Hey guys, a big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons of this channel. Those amazing patrons are here every day supporting the channel, allowing for the uploaded content we produce here. So if you're a patron, if you're a YouTube membership member, a regular viewer who gives thumbs up and hangs out here, dropping some awesome comments and educating people on the channel, I want to thank you again for being here. It's awesome, guys. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, of course, because there's always a video every day, right? Right? Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. I know. Stuff to talk about. We're here at the end. Am I here? I'm here. You're there? We're all here? All right. The lights are on? I didn't turn the lights off on you. Okay. We're still open for business, people. Do you remember that line from, I think it was The Wolf of Wall Street? I ask that you don't judge me on my winners, but judge me on my losers. Winners? Losers? Yeah. Something like that, right? I had some people comment that I was right about Tiamat. I've been right about a lot of cards, and a lot of money's been made and generated. And I've mentioned the Storm Scale Scion. Like, why do you keep mentioning it? Now, some of it's just my gut telling me that these things could go broken. Storm is a weird, crazy mechanic, and I have seen it go off already in Standard, so I can only imagine what you could do in Modern or in Commander. Okay, a lot more options. So I just feel at that price point, it's too low. Okay, it just seems like something could go wrong. So don't worry. Even if you're not interested in the card, if you're here at the end, I'm going to buy some for the channel. I'm going to pick a few copies up just so we have like a play set or two here in case people need an individual copy later on. Better safe than sorry. It's one of those moments you're like, I think I got to help people out. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Judge me on my losers, not my winners, and we'll see how it all turns out. Guys, see you tomorrow. Shop smart, shop smart, and yeah, Fallout t-shirt, Fallout. You guys get it. You guys, you're smart, you know. I'm going to turn the lights off later. Wait, you should turn them off. I'm leaving first. Yeah.